There it goes. This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 283, Timbren Industries interview.
Tonight, Aaron's internet is broken, Jeremy gets some bad news, and Ben figures out how to tell his wife he's stuck.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm Jeremy, and I'm here with my co-host Ben, and we are here with our guest Andrew from Timbren Industries.
Crushed it. That was a beauty intro, gentlemen.
The Week in Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. While you're there, make sure you use the discount code Off-Road Podcast for 10% off. So, Ben, what have you been up to?
Well, I had some fun at the dentist this week, so I had some teeth removed. Very not fun. I've been high on Oxycontin all week, but surprisingly enough, it's made me more productive. I've been researching different communication devices like the Garmin InReach. There's one called Somewhere, and then there's this other one that's Zolio. I'm just trying to figure out what's going to have the best price for me, and plan, because they all have plans, which is the really sucky part. So I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to get. Other than that, I met up with you and Aaron, give you guys your Christmas presents. You can see Jeremy's right there behind him.
Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah, I was pretty stoked to get those to you guys. I've got a friend, she does wood burning. That is a picture that Jeremy took wheeling, and she burned that into the wood.
Yeah. So that's is it Mommy's Pyro Designs?
Yeah, Mommy's Pyro Designs.
That's sick.
Yeah. So I hit her up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, I've got an idea for a Christmas present. Can you help me out?" Because she normally does portraits. So she did that, knocked that out for me really quick, a lot quicker than I was expecting. And Aaron just happened to be up here in town. I was like, "Hey, let's meet up," without trying to explain to him why. I just want to see you guys. Really, I miss you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
It's my buddies.
it was good to see him. So
Yeah, so we hung out at Rick's place and sat around the fire and did a little BSing, ate some food. Well, you guys ate food, and I
you
had
you
I had
had
milkshake and some bread,
fries.
fries. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
fries.
And some delicious, absolutely delicious. I can't remember what it was called. Zucchini bread.
Yes.
Yeah. That stuff was awesome. Shout out.
Zucchini bread is bomb. That stuff's good.
Oh yeah, Rick's wife makes a mean zucchini bread. So, other than that, just been editing podcasts and just trying to stay on top of things. Which, being in pain is not fun for trying to focus on stuff. But it's like I have a choice between being high and dopey or being in pain. So I'm like trying to find that fine balance.
That's that sweet spot where you're like a little bit of pain, but also a little bit of dope.
Yep.
Just right in the middle there. Just ride that line.
He's got enough dopiness. He doesn't need any help.
Other than that, I got this sweet sweatshirt in the mail. I ordered up a Warren hoodie. I've needed a new hoodie, and it's freezing out here in the garage. I can see my breath right now. So fortunately enough, I hit Warren up and ordered myself a hoodie. So I'm quite happy now.
How about you, Andrew? What have you been up to?
Well, I not a whole lot. Like I don't know what it's like where you guys are, or where those who are viewing right now are watching from, but like where we are, we're just outside Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we've kind of we're getting stricter and stricter with COVID rules as numbers and cases start to rise again, and so there's not really a whole lot I can do. my big outing right now is on Friday. It's one of the local ski hills is opening up, so it's the first time I'm gonna step on my snowboard for the first time in a year. But that is weird because like normally you would just go up, buy your ticket, and snowboard for the day. But now you got, because they're limiting how many people are on the hill at a time, you have to order your ticket in advance. So that's super weird. So I'm just living that super weird COVID life. And if I hear that word like unprecedented, I don't know how over that word you guys are, but I'm like, oh my gosh, if I hear somebody else talk about unprecedented times, I'm like, gosh, like, no, it just sucks.
The new normal.
That new normal. Yeah, man, this is the worst normal.
That is true. It is the worst version of normal.
Yeah, who wants this to be normal? Good grief.
Yeah. Jeez.
Well, Jeremy, what about you, man? What's new?
Well, I've got some, as we said in the intro, some disappointing news about the axles. I contacted, so I ordered them through Northridge, a set of Dynatrack Pro Rack 60s. So I sent an email to Dynatrack just saying, hey, Northridge didn't know what the lead time was going to be. So do you guys know what the lead time is? And he looked up my order and said, yep, it looks like your order is due to ship on the 29th of January. It's like, oh man, that's so long. So that's my disappointing news.
So I take it you're not going to make it snow camping with us in February?
I don't know. I got a couple weeks, but that's a couple weeks to get the axles installed, run any plumbing for the air lockers, break in the axles because I got to break in the gears. So it's not looking good that I'm going to be taking my own rig on that trip. But
Bust out the snowshoes, man. Just run real quick behind those dudes.
Hey, if it's anything like our trip last year, we were cutting trees every, I don't know, 20 feet. I probably could have kept up.
Yeah.
And then there was some smooth sailing, and then we ended up getting stuck and having to back up and plow and plow and plow. So I probably could have caught up at that point. But we'll see. I did get the new wheels and shocks in, so got the Dirty Life wheels in. I'm waiting for the beadlock rings. And then I'm waiting for the rest of the suspension, other than the control arms came in today. So I got those, just waiting for the rest of the suspension, and then obviously the axles. And I know I'm forgetting something else in there, but that's about those are the big ticket items that I'm still waiting for. Other than that, the rear axle is out. I just have one control arm that I didn't get all the way unbolted before all the kids woke up from naps. So I need to get that last control arm out. But other than that, things are progressing. I guess I'm going to start in on some maintenance items. Probably I definitely need to change the transmission fluid. So while I got all the skid plates out of it, I might as well take care of that. And then I'll probably end up doing the transfer case too, since I got plenty of time now that I'm waiting until January.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
February, practically.
I know. Well, it'll be probably February before I get the axles, because they said they were due to ship on the 29th.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they were in their normal 6 to 8 week lead time, but
Not
apparently
in
they're
COVID times. Nope.
longer end of 8 weeks.
It's from what I've seen with parts manufacturers, it's like add in 2 or 3 weeks, maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I
So
know Jamie waited like a month for her suspension for her Icon suspension that she put on her Tacoma.
yeah. Oh, did I say this? The shocks came in?
Yes, you just said the shocks.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a huge box.
That was a huge box. I don't know why they did such a huge box. It's like, it's as tall as 3 wheel boxes and as wide, and probably uh 12 inches deep. I mean, it's a ginormous box. We opened it up when it came in, and there was just so much extra space.
I wonder if it's because of how the reservoirs are designed, because they're like aren't they mounted on the shocks sideways?
Yeah, the front ones are. The rear ones are in line. I don't know. I think they just wanted to make sure they don't get roughed up on their way.
Yeah. Well, better to have no complaints about the product being damaged. than to have complaints that, oh, this tiny box was absolutely destroyed by the UPS man throwing it into my yard.
Right. Although I was today looking at, so now that I got the wheels in, and once I get the beadlock rings in, I think I'm going to get those later this week. I'm like, oh, I need to go get my tires dismounted and start mounting up the beadlocks. And it's not looking great to mount up. Right now. I don't want to mount up my 35s just to, in 6 months or so, mount up the 40s. But I mean, if I'm going to wheel anytime between now and probably next August, I'll probably need to mount them twice. But I'm not looking forward to that.
Oh, you think it's fun? Just enjoy it.
I think
you can't be like, getting all these nice new parts and then complaining, that you've I don't know, the 35s and the 40s. You just got, like, come on, nobody likes that guy, man.
Jeez.
Just own it, dude.
I was considering, so I got the Dirty Life DT1 wheels. So it's the dual tech wheels. I don't know if you're familiar with those, Andrew.
I know the brand, yeah.
So you can mount them as either a DOT wheel, so it'll mount with a normal bead,
Okay.
or you can buy the beadlock wheel or beadlock ring and mount it as a true beadlock.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm considering just mounting them as just having the shop go ahead and
yeah, just as a street wheel for now,
and then maybe do the 40s then. But then I'm looking at if I'm going to hit the snow run, it's like, well, if we're going to go in the snow, I definitely want to have the beadlocks going.
Yeah. Where do you guys go on that trip?
Usually in the Gifford Pinchot down in southern Washington.
Okay. Well, is that like that pass between Washington and Oregon, like in there somewhere?
No, it's a national forest down by Mount St. Helens. It's
okay.
Here in Helens.
Yeah, it's between the Oregon border and Mount St. Helens.
Yeah.
Okay. I know roughly where that is.
So hopefully we'll be on that. Hopefully I'll make that trip. We'll see.
Oh, you can ride with me. Well, actually, you won't be able to ride with me. My cousin's coming with.
No, I'll be riding with Rick, if anybody, because he's got the heated seats.
Oh, yes. And they're quite nice.
Oh, Rick is calling me now the new passenger.
The new passenger. There we go.
Yeah. For those who don't know the joke, Aaron's cousin, we deemed passenger because he didn't have an off-road rig. And then he became the wheeler formerly known as passenger. And I guess I'm passenger now.
Now the wheeler or the passenger formerly known as a wheeler.
Hey, I still do more wheeling than you do, Ben.
Yeah. That's because I break.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an off-road podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
I think the best part about running the show is you can just drop a one-liner like that and then cut the person off with the read.
Yep.
Game over.
I've done that so many times to you, so I guess I deserve it.
So we'd also like to give a big shout out to Patriot Patch Company. They have a great selection of patches, and you should go and join the Patch of the Month Club. For just $15 a month, you receive a patch and a matching sticker every single month. It's always topical. This month's is Santa has, I can't remember what he has. Is it a M4 with the grenade launcher? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah. And it's like Santa's little helper or something like that.
So the topical is that it's Santa?
Yeah. So so it's generally like some gun themed holiday or I'm trying to think holiday or seasonal depending upon the month. So
I got you.
Like October was one of the Octobers was a Franken gun, and it was just like a Franken built gun. I'm trying to think that every Thanksgiving there's a great turkey one. Tactical Toms.
Yeah, they're all up behind me, but I couldn't pick.
So it is all gun related then.
Yeah. Mostly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then also you can't forget the awesome limited drops they do. I just got the Killdozer 2.0. Um,
Yeah, he just started doing those too frequently, and I just can't spend the money now.
well, that's because you have axles to buy.
I know. Got to save it where I can.
Yep. Otherwise, your wife will murder you
The
and your
news.
son.
I don't like running this without the radio. The radio program runs smoother.
The news is brought to you by Power Tank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Well, they have released the pricing for the Rivian R1T and R1S. So the R1T is the pickup truck, and the R1S is the SUV. Yeah, they're going to start at like $70,000 for the base model Explorer version.
She's pricey.
That she is.
She's pricey. Not to mention the getting the charger in the garage so you can charge it, and but come on, it looks cool.
Oh
who
yeah.
Doesn't want,
So
who doesn't want to go off road and you hear nothing but tires? Like that's kind of sick.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Although I wouldn't want to do anything like I don't know, go down to the Rubicon for 3 days. They need to put the.
Yeah, fair enough. Kind of sucks a little bit for like exhaust manufacturers a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like, oh, like nobody wants to be loud anymore. You know, like
speakers or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Now for Magnaflow, the awesome simulated off-road noises.
Yo, I swear there's a movie about that where somebody, I don't know who it was that Paul, whatever his name is, did the Mall Cop movie. He did a movie where they like were him and Vince Vaughn trying to figure out how to, bring the muscle car noise into electric vehicles. No, not landing. Okay, then no. Scratch that.
Must be a weird Canadian movie.
Must be one of those weird. Yeah, Vince Vaughn did a few of those where it was like strictly Canadian audience only. Yeah, and it's shot in Detroit, but for a Canadian audience.
Sounds about right.
It's probably cheaper to film there.
It probably is. So we'll just go with talking about the different equipment packages. So the base model is the Explorer. So both of them come with a 300 plus mile package. The the R1T comes with a manual tonneau cover.
Jeremy's having internet issues. So it comes with
I'll just tell you, they come with some cool stuff, but they pricey.
Well, yeah, because you were talking about one, and how much did it price out for you that you were?
Oh yeah, like when you start playing with like the configurator, and you're adding, they've got like their, I can't remember what they call it now, like the Basecamp kitchen thing that comes out of the like that gear tunnel storage area, which is in my head like one of the coolest things ever in a pickup truck, that like gear tunnel storage area. But once you start adding all those things together, you're looking at $100K, and it's when you start, okay, $100K, and I can only, there's a limited range on it, limited, charging infrastructure, at least initially. It's like, I don't know, man, that's a hard sell.
Yeah, it's like, and I wonder, can they be charged solar? So do you think you'd be able to like bring a bunch of solar blankets and lay them out while you're stuck in the middle of Death Valley, so you can charge?
Yeah, that's a solid question. I don't know. I haven't looked into that with Rivian. I know that Tesla with their Cybertruck, they were talking about like solar tonneau cover type deal that would, it wouldn't give you a lot, but it would give you some extra charge if you were stranded somewhere, which is better than if you run out of gas. If you think about it, you run out of gas, you're like, you ain't just like magically just coming up with more gas somehow. Yeah. And, even if it's, a day to get another like 15. I was gonna say 15 kilometers. Let's go 15 miles. How's that? It's not much, but yeah.
Yep. And Rick's saying here that Jeremy probably forgot to pay the internet bill because he had to buy Jeep parts. Makes sense.
Those fancy boxes are expensive.
Yes, they are. And well, why don't we move on to this next story here with the 2021 Bronco? It's been delayed already. Can you guess why?
Has it already been delayed?
Yep, it's been
Oh,
delayed
that
because of
sucks.
COVID.
COVID strikes again.
COVID strikes again, and it's already moved into 2021. So what they're saying the delay is because of the parts line. They're not ready. They can't get all the parts they need in a timely manner, and they can't get that supply chain going. Well, it's kind of like how armies have broken other armies' path during war. Is if you can't get the supplies, well, you're not going to be able to keep on battling, and they're not going to be able to put out enough vehicles. So they say they're committed to build Broncos with quality for that their customers expect and deserve. I heard recently, I think it was on Donut Media, they were talking about the Toyotas, how they have their motto for parts and stuff is they want the quality, and they say that Ford and a couple other companies are trying to practice that too. So
Yo.
there's Jeremy. He's back.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was about. Although it looks like my computer's not charging.
Well, Rick says it's probably because you forgot to pay the internet bill. And he's froze again. Oh,
Should be back now.
there you go. So yeah, so for now, all we've got is they've moved it from January 31st to March 19th. So that's only 2 months of a delay. It's not terrible. And I
Yeah,
think,
it's still a delay though.
yep. And I think Andrew froze too.
We're just getting plagued with problems today.
Yep. Just can't win.
Are we getting attacked or something?
Hackers.
Cyber attacks?
Maybe the Canadian government doesn't want us talking to him.
He's got the secrets.
He's got the secrets. He's got the secrets on the awesome rubber. Well,
And there he goes. So we may have to
So-
BS for a little bit while Andrew tries to jump back in.
Well. I guess while we BS for a little bit while we wait for him to hop back on. So the three different what are they called?
Trim packages?
No, we talked about that already. The communication devices I'm looking at. So the Garmin InReach, which has what I'd call all the better options, like here's a link, you can follow me. So the somewhere has that, but you have to have an account and log into their app to see that. And then Zolio doesn't have that, but like their prices are cheaper. There he is. He's back again.
It's going around today.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
we're ready
I
to
think that
hop
my
on.
internet caught something from Jeremy's internet. I don't know what that was.
His
Aaron's
internet's
internet started it.
Yeah, Aaron couldn't make it because his internet wasn't working today.
Is COVID affecting internet now? Is that a thing?
It must be
Because
COVID 20.
seriously, why not, right?
It's COVID 20. It's the new norm.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we are in the last month of 2020, so something's got to go wrong, right?
One. Yeah, come on, bring it on. I made it this far.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, I reached out to Andrew over at Timbren. Is it the head of marketing or
Yeah, marketing director. I just kind of make sure things don't break.
there we go. The marketing director over at Timbren. I first discovered Timbren on my search for new bump stops because if you remember the story from the BDR trip, I jumped my Forerunner on accident, and now I have flat bump stops.
Yo, you on accident? Come on,
No, it was
come
on
on,
accident. It was. It
come
was
on.
over a little hill, and I just gassed up it like I'd been doing all day, and it immediately dropped and went into another little whoop, and so I jumped my Forerunner because I gassed going over it. So yeah, I flattened out my.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it, eh?
That's my story. I've been sticking to it for 2 years. So Jeremy was what? Weren't you in front of me, Jeremy?
No, I was behind you.
Yeah, Jeremy's behind me and saw me do the whole thing.
Yep. It looks like it was a hard hit.
It was a very hard hit. Lifted my cooler up out of the back and put my tent under my cooler, and the cooler was full of food and ice and drinks. It was a rough day.
Wow, how did that feel?
Jarring.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice way to put that.
Yeah, but it flattened my bump stops. So I've gone on a mission for new bump stops, and
Are they like, sorry, are they like permanently flattened after that? Like your OEM stops, are they permanently toast?
Yeah, they're toast, and I haven't replaced them yet.
I didn't know that they could be permanently toasted from that.
They like squirted grease out everywhere. They're like half the size.
They just gave up on life after that thing, hey?
Yeah, I mean they're what? Was about 2006, so they're 15 years old now.
Okay.
I mean, age probably didn't help them at all either.
Fair enough. That was the day they retired, though.
Yeah, that was the day they retired. Now I'm just running with what remains of them, and I've been looking at new bump stops. So I found you guys
2.5 years ago.
Yeah, 2.5 years. And now I'm finally in the market for them, and I was like, a good topic to bring up, because I mean we talk about axles and suspension and all that, and it's one of the conversations I see left out a lot is bump stops. So why not reach out to the guys who do bump stops along with a few other things. But before we talk about Timbren more, we need to talk about you. And our first one.
Oh, sick. This is my favorite. I'm so good at talking about me.
That's good. That's good. Our first one here is the Fast 5 Facts. So new or old vehicle?
Oh man, new.
Summer or winter camping?
Summer.
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
I hate mud. I'm going rock.
Favorite vehicle brand?
Oh, gee. I'll go Jeep just to love on Jeremy here.
And your favorite tire?
Oh man, you have to go the KO2s, the BFGs.
They are a good tire.
They are a good tire.
They haven't failed me yet.
You got some wood to knock on over there?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna cross my fingers on that one. How's that?
Oh, and Rick getting in the shot that he was half tempted 2 years ago. For those who don't listen to the show regularly, Ben always says he's half tempted to do something, and then it never happens.
Wasn't tempted fully.
Yo, do you have like Ben trolls on here? Is that what this is? Like trolls that just come on here and they just chirp Ben?
He's an easy target.
Not hard to miss.
So how'd you get started in off-roading?
Oh man, I bought our Jeep JK brand new back in 2014, and that was, I mean, I think what's the adage, like, once you buy a Jeep, it's basically game over kind of thing, like I was like, okay, I guess we're in it now. And that, and I was already working at Timbren at that point, and so you're just kind of indoctrinated into the industry, the people, everything, all the events, or at least the off-road events that we're doing, and so you just kind of just get indoctrinated over time, and I guess I just got brainwashed into the whole off-road thing. And so started doing little things here and there. And I'm nowhere near like swapping out axles. That's not my jam. But yeah, that's kind of my brief intro into it. I mean, here's the truth for me. Okay. So I've been at Timbren now for about 11 or 12 years. And so I bought this, I don't know, a few years into, working at Timbren. But the reality is, man, it doesn't matter where I work. I'd probably be indoctrinated into anything. A good friend of mine works in the mining industry. I'm like, man, if I worked in the mining industry, I think that I'd buy a mine or something. And I think it'd just be like, let's mine something. And so, yeah, so I just kind of got into off-road that way.
I think you should watch out for Colts because it sounds like you have the right mentality for that.
Yeah, there you go.
So, what was the first vehicle you took off-road?
I think I had a Chevy Blazer way back in the day, and I accidentally took that off-road a few times, just getting sheerly lost up north of the city here.
Accidentally?
Accidentally, I was half tempted to go off-road, and but I did it. I went with my temptation there. But yeah, so that I kind of messed around with that. We've had quads and side by sides and stuff growing up, so it wasn't like unknown to me. It was just taking like a road vehicle off road. That was, and that I like for me the first time. I don't know about you guys. You guys are weathered vets, okay? But for me, I was like, man, this is like, this is an expensive vehicle going off road. And like, you get that first scratch on it or whatever. And you're like, man, now the side of I don't know what your vehicles are like, but man, I got pinstriping hardcore down the side of my Jeep. And yeah, just from taking dumb trails here and there. But yeah, is what it is.
So you still driving that JK then?
Still driving that JK. And until the Rivian R1T is in the budget. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Rivian's going to need to seriously rethink their pricing structure for that to be in my budget.
So what have you done to the JK?
Oh man, one of the first things I did, because the headlights on the Jeep are like, in my opinion, like dangerous in how dim they are. So they were first to go. I put some Spider headlights in there. I've been super happy with those. I went because I'm easing into it. Okay, look, I'm just treading carefully here. I went with like just a little 2-inch AEV baby lift, and as soon as you put that in, you're like, well, man, I wish I went with that 4.5. It's like, and so yeah, but yeah, just kind of stuck with that so far. A few other things. Did some Baja lighting here and there. One of my favorite things I did this summer that I should have done so much longer ago was 67 Designs, that phone unit like thing for your phone, and I've got my GPS on there, and that thing is, I wish I had done that a long time ago. I do a lot of driving, especially in the summer, and to have that like my phone and my GPS, and I still have room for one more other attachment. That thing has been awesome. I'm embarrassed that I did not do that sooner.
Well, that brings us into our next question here quite well. What is the most embarrassing moment on the trail?
Oh, dude, I have so many. I've been pulled out. I think I've been pulled out by tractors. Oh man, easily 3 or 4 times. Just yeah, I last winter. So we're up here in Canada, a few hours north of the city. I was up at a conference, and I was with my wife, and this is kind of like cottage country up there. And there was a camp that I grew up going to that was just around the corner. I was like, oh babe, I gotta show you this camp. And like, this is like dead of winter, okay? So I'm like, I gotta show you the camp that I grew up at, because I had so many great memories of this place. And I get to the camp, and there's like, first of all, you have to understand that the snow at this point up there is like middle of my thigh, and there's nobody's been on this road, but I have it in my head that I'm like, I'm going down here. And anyway, I was on here. I'm trying to translate here for a few kilometers. So I don't know, let's call it a couple miles. and or a mile or two. And eventually I just got mad stuck in some real deep snow all by myself with my wife, trying to show her the camp that I grew up at. It's not going well. So eventually I just get out and I start walking, and I was lucky enough to find the maintenance guy of the camp. And he literally brought out like a massive tractor and just yanked me out. And I was like, thanks. Wish that this was my first time being towed out by a tractor, but it's not. So yeah, I'm comfortable with looking kind of dumb. That's okay. Pardon?
It's part of the fun.
Part of the fun.
So with every big embarrassing moment comes a big win. So what is your biggest win on the trail?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. Honestly, I've got 3 daughters, and anytime that we just kind of get to go out, explore, camp, any of that stuff, that's a massive win. We love doing that. We've got some great area up here to explore. It's kind of like it's not like the atypical terrain that you see like in the magazine or whatever, but it's Canadian Shield. It's rocky, it's muddy, there's lots of forest. And yeah, so just going out and exploring that and showing my girls that is a lot of fun. That was a atypical dad answer, but there you go.
Well,
Hey,
we're dads, so
We're
it's
amongst
right
friends.
there with you. Yep. So, do you have a favorite place you like to go wheeling at?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good question. There's a place, probably there's a couple hours east of where I am, and it's a little island, and you get out on there. There's a bridge that you cross and you get out there, and there's some places that you can get down that are old military roads, and if you follow them for long enough, you'll get out to Lake Ontario, and you can just camp right there on the lake, and that's pretty sick. Jump out of the tent, swim, all that. It's good.
that is awesome. I love camping by the water.
It's a good time. There's not enough solid campsites by water.
No.
Yeah.
There is. There's always other people there. And you're like, go away.
I never seem to beat them. That's the problem. I'm always the last one there. I'm like, how'd you guys all get out here so quick? Am I the only one who works?
I'm pretty sure that they just live there.
Yeah, touche.
Because if you're gonna live out of your car, why not live where it's awesome? So is there any places that are on your bucket list that you haven't gone yet?
Oh man, I don't know. You guys follow Ken Hogland on Instagram? That guy, he's out in Utah, and that guy is constantly posting like videos and images of Utah, and I'm like, Utah looks sick, and I would love to go to Utah. So every time I see Ken post a new image, I'm like, dang man, Utah's sick. So that's on my bucket list.
Jeremy and I are just thinking, yep, Moab, want to go there. Want to go there so bad.
Yeah, but like not even Moab. Like it's like the whole state is gorgeous, and like so many of those like trails and like the mountain views and stuff. I'm all about that view, and it just looks so good. So Ken Hogland, man, you're killing me with the Utah picks.
How far is Utah from you?
It is a good chunk of a drive right there. That's a long trek. I don't know, man.
Plus, you got border crossings.
That's got to be 30 hours easy.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Worth it?
Yeah, that's a I was half tempted moment. I don't know. I was half tempted to drive 30 hours.
Non-stop, no sleeping, lots of Red Bull.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about you. Now it's time to get down to business and talk about the business. How did Timbren get started?
Oh, that's a good question. So Timbren is a family-run, owned company. It was actually my grandfather that started Timbren. And long story is when he was young, he had a paving, he manufactured paving equipment, big rollers. and he sold that when he was young. Kind of thought, I'm going to retire young. Was visiting London, and shortly after that, London, the UK, and he saw somebody was selling these Aeon rubber springs, the patent to these Aeon rubber springs, and at first he said, like, no, like, I'm not interested in that. Was sitting in his hotel room that night, and he thought, he just couldn't shake this like Aeon rubber spring thing, and he's like, I just feel like I have to buy this company, or the patent to this thing. So he bought the patent to these Aeon rubber springs, and came back to Canada, started manufacturing these Aeon rubber springs, and didn't even know where he was going to sell these things. And he started really with the heavy duty truck market and these big class 6, 7, 8 trucks. And that was where we started selling kits first, is into those big rigs. And from them we came down. But that's kind of the long story. Now those Aeon rubber springs are really the lifeblood of like everything that we do, from vehicle or kits for vehicles all the way to our off-road trailer suspension. It's the heart of everything.
So what exactly is an Aeon spring, and can you tell us a little bit how it works?
That's such a great question, Jeremy. I'm so glad you asked. Aeon rubber spring, man, I should have brought one. As I sit here in my dining room, basically what an Aeon rubber spring is, it kind of looks like an airbag from the outside looking in. It would be easy to mistake it for an airbag, but it's actually it looks like a solid piece of rubber, but it's actually got a hollow core in it, and a combination of the shape of the spring, of the core that's used, and the different density of rubber, or the different durometer of rubber, that creates that progressive rubber spring. So that's what creates, for some of our kits that are really more for, helper springs, load bearing kits, those are, or, the shape of those, or the kits or the Aeon rubber springs that we put in those kits are really designed to take a intense load versus, something for our off-road customers. Those are really, they're kind of detuned springs almost. Like we use a softer rubber spring, and again, change the shape of it slightly, and we get a more of a dampening effect on those, so it absorbs some of those shocks. So really, yeah, I don't know if that's a good answer. I really should have brought one of them on here. But yeah, that's kind of the short on what those Aeon rubber springs are.
So you guys make a different type of trailer axle than the standard. Can you explain how it works?
Yeah, so there's, again, it's really using our Aeon rubber spring as the heartbeat of this thing, and it's an axle-less trailer suspension. So there is no axle whatsoever. So it's, some people are, okay, well, describe what is it? Well, imagine something that's not there. There's no axle anymore. So the big bonus of that is, especially for anybody who's doing like off-road, overland, there's max ground clearance. There's ground clearance that never existed before because there was an axle in the way. And in a lot of cases, you'll get more ground clearance on your trailer than you've got on your tow vehicle, whether it's, your Tacoma, 4Runner, Jeep, whatever. And so, yeah, it was really designed for the military. And the reason that we kind of got involved with it is because the military wanted a trailer that they could basically pull up over top of somebody in like a battlefield type situation, and without getting out, or they didn't want to get out of the trailer, and it was an enclosed trailer, and so they would pull up over top of somebody, and without getting out, they could just reach down, grab them, pull them in. And that's how we got involved with that. And so we introduced that back in 2011. Not really knowing, like, apart from the military thing, which never even panned out. I think the military gave up on that project. But yeah, we didn't really know what we were going to do with this thing. We entered it at SEMA into the new products award deal that they got going on, and we ended up winning the best off-road product back in 2011 with that. And honestly, it was like the off-road community more than anything that basically took it and, you know, for lack of a better word, just said like, this is how we're going to use this thing. And we were like, all right, like, yeah, this makes absolute, like, total sense that this would be like, you know, it was really designed for military anyway. It was designed to take a beating, and it was designed for, you know, all the kind of different terrain that they might get into. So yeah, it's a perfect fit for the off-road community. So that's kind of how that started. Oh, look at you. Pull up. This is fancy now.
So off-roading wasn't even in mind at all when you guys developed this. It was only after you guys won the award that you guys realized that it could be used in the off-road trailer industry.
Well, it was in our mind in the sense that like we knew that the military, if they adopted this, they would use it like that. So we were building it for off-road, but because we were building it specifically for like a military application, we weren't thinking at that point, at least, about, you know, the average consumer and how, you know, this could be a good solution for, you know, anybody who's running axles on their suspension or on their trailer, or, you know, a torsion suspension system. So yeah, it's not that we weren't thinking about it. It's just that we were thinking about it differently than how they kind of took it. Yeah, so this particular suspension that you're looking at here on the website, this is our 2K HD. This is one of our more popular suspensions, and we had to we basically had to differentiate our suspensions from our HD models versus our non-HD models. So we had some companies that came along and they wanted the axle-less trailer suspension, but they didn't need it for off-road. So we basically kind of stripped some of the, you know, the core features that made it off-road, you know, meaning the, you know, thicker steel on it. So it's our engineers kind of went overkill on like the robustness of the design, for, again, specifically for that off-road customer. And so we've got basically two classes. We've got a standard suspension, and then we've got our HD suspensions, which are really geared at the off-road customer. We've had some guys take the standard suspension and try to use that off-road, and it'll get the job done. But, you know, when they send us pictures of, you know, they're pulling it behind a, you know, we had one guy with, I think he had 40-inch tires on a Jeep. He put 40-inch tires on these things, and he mangled them because he was going, I don't even know what kind of trails, but he was beating them up, and they just couldn't take it because they weren't up to the task. So we upgraded him to the HD models, and he's been happy ever since.
I've wondered because I've seen, I want to say it was a couple years ago, seen one that had failed, and I was wondering if it was, did he have the wrong weight or model number that he needed? Because I knew you guys had several different model numbers.
Yeah, it typically comes down to two things. If it's a failure, it comes to, did the guy spec it right in the first place? Like, spec it meaning get the right size, because we've got different size. We've got, you know, 400 pound all the way up to a 7,000 pound. So and you know, as you guys may or may not be aware, some guys are overloading their stuff. You know, especially when it's got a trailer, right? Because you got a trailer and you're like, I don't know, I got more space, so let's just keep tossing stuff in there until there's no more space. And, you know, you don't think about necessarily about the capacity of the suspension when you're loading it up. So yeah, so in some cases they didn't buy the right size of suspension. In other cases, they should have bought an HD suspension. They were just trying to skimp out and go for the standard suspension.
So when somebody's trying to spec out their system, would you recommend them just going with the HD, or would you also recommend them going higher in weight? Because I could kind of see there be a problem if you get up to where you're not loading the axle enough, you're not going to be using that suspension.
Yeah, and so it's a great question, right? Because you're probably towed a trailer at some point that was empty. And, you know, when you're pulling an empty trailer down the road, it's just kind of rattling. Well, we actually, our engineers design our suspension with 2 rubber springs. One of them is the main spring and the other one is a rebound spring. And the idea of the rebound spring is that even when there's nothing in the trailer, like when the trailer's unloaded, that rebound spring puts tension on the main spring to eliminate that rattle. But yeah, there's basically, you know, when it comes to speccing a trailer and, you know, picking out the right size, we typically go with, or our typical, you know, metric that we use is 20% more than what you're speccing your trailer at. So if you think about, what's a good example here? So if I've got if I know my trailer's gonna be 800 pounds and I want to add another 20% to it, okay, then I need a 1,000 pound suspension. That's just an easy number to use. But I was talking to a guy this week it's Monday, okay, last week. And he was using, I think he was about 3,000 pounds. And so, you know, add 20% to that. And we got him on one of our 3500 HD models. So that's kind of how we do it. It's easier to do when somebody's just retrofitting a trailer because they can go to like the scales, measure, you know, weigh their trailer, see what it weighs in at. It's a little bit more, takes a little bit more science and, you know, forethought when somebody's building a trailer, you know, when they're, you know, trying to calculate, okay, how much steel am I putting into the frame? How, you know, am I putting a rooftop tent on it? And am I adding a fridge? If I am, you know, what size is it? You know, all those different things. So it takes a little bit more work when somebody's building the trailer. We've got guys who do it all the time, but that's generally the rule. 20% more, add 20% to what what your weight is, and get the suspension at that size, because that gives you some wiggle room, you know, for your suspension travel, etc.
So we've got a question here. What are those spindles made of? They look beef.
Those are steel. That's some. I assume that you want to know, like, Rick. I assume that you want to know, Rick, what what gauge steel that is. I have no idea. I've warned these guys, man. Don't ask me technical questions. I know enough to break stuff. Yeah, they're steel. Again, if you get our HD models are using thicker gauge steel, and that's, again, really trying to play into, you know, for the off-road guys, beefing that thing up so that they can beat on it however, you know, they need to, wherever they're going. But yeah, I hope that answers your question a little bit, Rick. It's not aluminum.
So what can I do to match the wheels that are on my truck? Is that possible?
Yeah, totally. We got guys that do that all the time. And you do that through the hub and brake. And really just make sure that you're picking out the hubs and brakes that have the same bolt pattern as the wheels you want to use. And as long as you're picking that out, and you can pick those right out on our website. And yeah, you pick out the right bolt pattern for you, and you're good to roll. Rick's giving me the thumbs up. Rick, you the man. I love that thumbs up. I feel so edified right now.
Sorry.
Well, I just feel like I answered a technical question. Okay, Ben, that's really what it is. And I'm gonna pat myself on the back after this.
Please do it now. Feel free.
Yeah, there you go. Did it, man. Kids, I did it.
So
it's late here.
So you mentioned brakes. Can you get electric brakes? And
Yeah.
is there anything special you need, or are they like self-contained?
Yeah, they're all. So we sell the hub and brake as an entire assembly. So instead of buying like the drums or buying buying it separately, we sell it all as one. And you can see on our website, when you're looking at one of those axle suspensions, you can see what hub and brake assemblies fit each one of the suspensions. So you know that when you're adding it to your cart, you've got all the right stuff and you're good to roll. Just make sure that the bolt pattern is the one you want.
So what do you guys offer for oversized tires?
For oversized tires, we have on our HD models, we have a longer spindle arm. And that longer spindle arm is really there just to accommodate, wider wheel and tire packages that somebody might be using. Again, like we've got guys who have used, I don't think I've seen bigger than 40s, but I've definitely seen 40s, and they look massive on a trailer. 40s look massive on a vehicle, period. But you put that on a trailer, and you're like, that looks sick, but it seems out of place. So we can accommodate all of that stuff. I know that a lot of guys have questions about backspacing and so on. We've got a chart of dimensions on each of our axles pages, so you can make sure that you're getting the right spindle length, the right spindle arm length for your wheel, depending on what kind of backspacing you have. We also have like killer, and I talk to these guys all the time. There are suspension techs. Whenever I have questions, I'm like, what's the deal with this, man? And they're awesome. They're in-house. We don't have like answering machine services or anything. You'll just get right to those guys, and they answer all my questions. Now I don't necessarily ask the most technical. I'm just going to talk to Rick. I'm not necessarily asking the most technical questions, but yeah, if you got any questions, like those guys are super, super knowledgeable.
So is there like a max tire size, like say on like your 2,000 pound, or is it just kind of limited to what the spindle can fit?
It's at least I haven't seen us max out the what can be put on there. But yeah, that's it. It really depends on what you're trying to fit on there. Again, I haven't seen anything bigger than 40s. Does somebody want to put bigger than 40s on their trailer? I mean, bless you if you do. Just make sure that it's like you've got an American flag on the side of your trailer. Maybe some of these patches, from Patriot patches, you just stand with a gun, because you need that if you're going bigger than 40s on your off-road trailer.
Hey, I mean,
tires on there.
40s are the new 35s. So,
yeah,
and you got to have 2 matching spares on your trailer for your tow rig. So
there you go. Yeah, well, that's one of the really nice things, though, isn't it, about matching your wheel and tire on your like tow vehicle as your trailer? Because at least most of the guys that I'm talking to are only carrying around one spare, and that works well for them. So yeah, so like I recommend it. If you can match them. Make sure that if you can limit how many extra things you're carrying around, and some of those wheels and tires ain't light. So you don't want to carry around more of those than you have to.
Absolutely not. So how easy is it to retrofit your axle system into a solid axle trailer? Is it just cut off all the old axle components and bolt in your axles, or axles, quote unquote?
Dude, you pretty much work at Timbren, man. Yeah, I know a lot of guys, like the M1 military trailer, that's a popular one to retrofit. You basically just rip off all the old stuff, make sure that you spec the right suspension, and then it's a bolt-on job. You can bolt it on, you can weld it on. The hangers on the suspension have pre-drilled holes. That's not COVID cough, man. That's like, it's almost 11 o'clock my time cough. Okay, I guess I cough at 11 o'clock. Who knew? So you just rip all that old stuff. You can drill it on. We've got all kinds of videos to explain how to do that. We've got some on how to like retrofit a trailer, how to install it, where you're going to need to measure from the tongue back to the midpoint on their frame. So just go to the video, man. Come on, Ben. Go to the video.
And Eric's commenting here, if Aaron had used these, he wouldn't have ripped his axle off of his springs. And probably.
Which is #true. So it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. He just catapulted his trailer because his axle, I forget exactly what happened, but his axle failed and just launched his trailer.
Yeah, I think it was a spring hanger that failed and it just ripped off and like catapulted it lifted his trailer off the ground when it hit. So
Whoa, that's
yeah.
scary.
So
Well,
Eric is right. If Aaron had been running those, he wouldn't have had a problem.
so let's talk a little bit about the bump stops. You guys have two different kinds of bump stops. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, this one is it confuses a bunch of people, and the reason it confuses people is because they look identical. Like if you're looking at the product image on on our website, it looks like nearly identical. And again, that just goes back to these Aeon rubber springs that we use in our Timbren SES kits and our active off-road bump stop kits. And our Timbren SES kits, those are really what we designed first, and those were designed for as helper springs to help you with load management, help you carry more weight. If you've got whether you're a contractor, landscaper, guy towing a boat on a weekend, whatever it happens to be, it's there to help you pull or help you tow more weight. Have you ever seen anybody driving down the road and their rear end, because they've got so much weight in it, is like sagging way down? And so this just helps you, keeps everything nice and level. There's no air bags with this. So there's no air compressors, no lines, no hoses, no valves, none of that stuff. You install it. It's a bolt-on kit, lifetime warranty, does its thing. You don't need to worry about airing up, airing down. They're progressive rubber springs. Just means the more weight you put on these things, the more weight you put in your truck, the more these things work to keep your vehicle level. So super simple system. Like I can do that. Okay, Jeremy, I can do that, man. Look at my claim to fame. I've installed these things. Did it. Kids, I did it. And our active off-road bump stops are those are I kind of said it earlier, but like detuned versions of those. So we took those same kits and we put in shorter springs so they wouldn't come into contact right away, and we used softer rubber so that instead of needing to carry more weight in your vehicle, you wanted to absorb those shocks off-road, those big slams, harsh slams. That's what those things are designed for. And like one of the comments I've heard over and over is for individuals who have switched over to our bump stops from their OEM, is that they're able to stay on the trail longer because they're not getting those harsh slams all day long. And so that's one of the big bonuses is you get to stay out there and break something on your rig if you want to.
Something that I've learned through my shop working is we installed some on a Tacoma, and at least for the Tacoma, it was like a 2020 Tacoma. The bump stops, the ASE, the towing ones,
The SES, yeah,
SES,
suspension enhancement system.
they're rated for 2,000 pounds more than airbags, which was pretty cool. Because
we did it.
He wanted
We did it.
He wanted to switch out to airbags, and we're like, well, these are rated for more weight, because he had a Harley in his bed that he was towing down to California, and he was complaining about how much. Well, it's like you have too much weight back there. Your rig is way overloaded. It's not
Yeah.
the pump stop's fault.
No, it's funny. We've had guys. There was a company down in Pennsylvania that kept getting tickets from the DOT for being overloaded, and because they looked overloaded, and they started using our product and our SES kits, that is, and they were still overloaded, but they didn't look like it anymore, and so they stopped getting tickets. So there you go. If you don't want to get ticketed by the DOT any longer, SES kits, we're here for you.
So there's not a different rubber compound between the two?
It's the same. It like the chemicals, is like the rubber itself is the same. It's just a different density of rubber. So that hardness. So we're just swapping out, like on the SES kits, because they're hauling weight, or they're there to help you help support all the weight that you're putting in there. Those are a little bit stiffer. Like lots of guys will pick it up and they'll try to like compress it with their hands. They're like, I can't compress it. This must be real. This must hurt when you're driving around in it. Like, dude, this is rated at 6,000 pounds, man. Like, who do you think you are? And so those are a little bit stiffer. But for our active off-road bump stops for that product, those are definitely softer. Those you can play around with them a little bit more in your hand, and you install them, and you can put them on my Jeep. And like like when you get into some trails, like there's like those whoops. I always wish that there was a better way to say whoops, like, because it just feels so untechnical. The whoops, the whoops, and and it just like you just kind of ride those because like the bump stops are just engaging on all four corners, and you're just like absorbing that each and in and out of each and every one, and it feels nice.
Anything you can do to smooth out that ride instead of flattening them out.
Yeah, man, you don't want pancakes back there. I mean, it sucks. It's sort of like you said, you got a Tacoma. Is that what it was?
I've got a 4Runner.
And I mean, it sucks. Like, you buy some of these vehicles, and like especially when you're buying a new, like your buddy with that new Tacoma. Sorry, I can't remember. It was a Tacoma your buddy had, right? And like you look at the bump stops that are on there from factory, and they're not very big, right? Like they're relatively small. Yeah, like you're buying like these aren't cheap trucks. And so so swapping those out, it'll save your suspension, especially if you're going off-road and you've invested in your suspension system, like you've swapped it out, upgraded with whatever. Don't, like, these are an insurance policy. Here's my dog. And oh yes. And they're protect your suspension, man, and your back. Don't be the dummy that's Timbren all the time and complaining about his back. That sucks.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's probably about your bedtime, but before we let you go, where can our listeners find you?
Timbren.com. That's our website. We're on Instagram. Oh man, I should know our hashtag or our handle. I think it's Timbren Industries. I would have known an hour ago, but now it's 11 o'clock for me and I can't remember anymore. Pretty sure it's Timbren Industries. Is one of my team on here anymore? No, they're gone.
Yeah, it's Timbren Industries.
There you go. Thanks, Ben. If I was on the West Coast, I would have known that answer. That's my story.
And that's Facebook and Instagram and YouTube too.
And YouTube, yeah, and Twitter. I don't think does anyone go on Twitter anymore? I don't know.
It's all TikTok now.
Oh, it's TikTok. Yeah, we're not on there. But maybe if I learn some sweet dances, I can get on there. But I'll only do the dances if Ben comes on with me.
I'm down for it, but we've got a
good
distance. We've got a whole border between us.
Sounds like a Utah meetup.
Yes.
There you go.
Moab.
Yeah, I was half tempted.
Well, before we go, we'd like to thank everyone who listens to us weekly. Also to those who watch us live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. Couldn't remember the other one there. We really appreciate you guys. You guys are really why we do this show. I mean, if you guys weren't listening or watching, then we'd just be sitting here joking around to ourselves, and that would be probably still fun, but distinctively.
I would have enjoyed it.
So just please share us with your friends. That really helps us grow. And definitely God bless America. And for today, God bless Canada.
Amen. And Matt, shout out to Rick for all those sweet questions. I answered.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening